All right, so you said your name's Jose? All right.
Yes, sir. Last time I checked.
Fair enough. All right, thank you for doing this interview. I appreciate it, man.
No problem.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how open-minded would you say you are?
1 to 10. I mean, is that extreme 10 or like a?
Whatever you take it as. 10 being the most open-minded, 1 being the least.
I would say about 8.
8? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you think you should look at both sides of an argument before you make a decision on something?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, I do too. All right.
Definitely.
Do you trust your senses?
Most of the time I do.
All right, yeah, like crossing the street and whatever, just
Yeah,
like putting
yeah,
your clothes on.
absolutely. Yeah, use common sense for everything, you know.
All right. Do you trust the government?
I do not.
All right, fair enough. Hey, a lot of people don't. Do you think the majority's always right?
I doubt that. I don't think.
No.
No, it's there's, I don't know what you call a majority. Like, could be like, like the government or.
I'm saying like here, like say the majority of like your specialists would say, like physicists and stuff would say you came from a big bang. That would be a majority. But I mean, I don't know, there's just people that think creationism too. So I mean,
no,
so I mean,
I believe where I believe. I don't think
All right.
Yeah.
How do you think everything came to be? Do you think we came from a big bang? Do you believe creationism, like God created us, or you don't have a belief in it really?
I know there's a God. I know there's things that science can explain.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I know science can explain a lot of things. But as far as, were we created by God or were we created by, I don't know, science?
Yeah.
I would lean more towards, I would say God.
So you'd say more creationism as opposed to...
Yeah, but it could be 50-50. I mean, I'm not saying, everything was created by, by science or everything was created by God. I would say 50-50, but...
All right, that's fair. What would be your definition of science?
My definition of science? Amazing.
Amazing it is?
Yes.
All right. Would you agree with me science should be observable, measurable, testable, and repeatable? Like that'd be the core of science? You should be able to observe it, test it, repeat it, like in a lab or something, and
yeah, I think
measure
test and repeat, yeah.
All right. Do you think science should ever be a closed book?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it should be closed book. I mean.
All right. To you, what's the difference between a belief and a knowing?
So believe something that you believe, and a knowing something that you know that like for a fact, like what is like cars are running, because that's a fact,
I would agree with that.
And I mean,
at least kind of what you said, like with God, you believe with God, but I mean you can't prove it or whatever.
Yeah, you can't. Well, yeah, you can't prove something.
But you have a strong belief in it.
Yes.
Yeah, and knowing, I see there's two people here talking right now. That's a knowing, 100%.
Exactly. That's
all right.
Exactly what it is.
All right, this is where it gets. Most likely, 95% of people aren't going to agree with me on this subject, but
okay.
Here it is. What shape do you think the Earth is? Do you believe it's flat? Do you believe it's without form? Do you believe it's an oblate spheroid like you've always been taught, or do you believe it's another type of shape?
Oh, it's round, like
Round, like like you've always been taught. All right. Can I ask you why you believe that?
Because I got pictures of it from satellites, That's
okay.
Science proves that, like there's literally pictures of it, videos of it from the space. That's you see it's round.
Mm-hmm.
It's round, it's not flat.
Not flat. All right.
What do you? I mean, what do you think? What is your?
What do I think? I think it's something like the Matrix, man. I'll give you a few points why I think it is. Because they haven't been back to the moon in over 50 years. That's one thing. And
wait.
They're going back supposedly.
What do you say they were there? Were they really there or not?
I don't believe they ever were there, man. I mean, that's my belief. I'll say it's a belief too.
Right.
There's something called the Antarctic Treaty that they made. Have you ever heard of that before?
What's it called?
It's called the Antarctic Treaty. They made it right before the space race. It's the only sovereign nation in the world, and they made this right before the space race. And I like to go to science too, because I like natural science. Like formal science with the mathematics, which could possibly line up with reality, but it might not. And natural science you can't lie with it. You can just see what reality is. So I mean, do you know anything like about fluid dynamics? How water behaves? Would you say? Like liquid? Would you agree with me that a liquid will take the shape of its container and level out 1,000,000% of the time?
Sure.
So the Earth's covered in over 72% water. How could it be an oblate spheroid then?
Because the atmosphere.
Is the atmosphere?
That's what makes it,
Hold to it?
That's what makes us walk around like now we're spinning. The Earth's spinning right now. It's literally spinning.
That's what we're
and
taught.
and we're standing right here, like talking, not even moving.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Most people just take gravity or whatever, and they say gravity.
Yeah, that's what I
I
meant
understand.
That's what I meant to say to you. That like gravity. That's what I meant to say. Not.
And gravity, they can measure things fall at 9.8 meters per second squared. But the only thing I disagree with gravity is the fact that they can measure that. But I think just because things fall at a certain speed, I don't think it proves the shape of anything. Basically, I mean,
Could be.
all right. Do you think we breathe the same stuff in space?
Well, first there's no oxygen in space.
You're right. That's what we're told. So they say space is a vacuum. It's like it's not a perfect negative pressure system, but it's about as close as you can get to it.
Right.
So,
I mean,
would you be able to give me an example of two opposing pressure systems existing side by side without a solid separation? Like a positive pressure system against a negative pressure system with no solid barrier? Because they tell us our atmosphere is adjacent to the vacuum of space with no solid barrier. And like I said, I think science should be observable, measurable, testable, and repeatable. They can't show me water conform to exterior shape. They can't show me two opposing pressure systems existing side by side without a solid barrier. So I got to take a leap of faith in what they're telling us, basically.
Yeah, that's kind of a tricky question. I mean, I couldn't.
Yeah, most people, I've never thought about this stuff until I started looking at this about 6 years ago, and it got me really thinking.
I've never thought about that. I'd be like,
No one's ever given me an example, so don't feel bad. I can't give you an example of it, man. All right, have you ever heard of well, do you know the difference between eclipses and stuff?
What?
What the difference between eclipses are, like a solar eclipse, a lunar eclipse?
Yeah.
I'll go over them real quick. Solar eclipse is when the moon goes in front of the sun, and then the lunar eclipse, from what you believe mainstream is, if will you hold out both your hands like right in front of me?
Yeah.
Say the Earth's in between them. Say the sun's on one side and the moon's on the other side.
Yeah.
And they say it's the sun's shadow cast on the Earth, and it's always a curved surface on the moon at nighttime, causing a lunar eclipse. So that's what they say. And this theory here, they don't believe space and time bends, basically, and they believe it's actually the sun blocking out the moon. Would you be able to disprove that? No?
No. All I know that they exist. There's, what's it called? A solar eclipse and
lunar eclipse.
Lunar eclipse. That's all I know. I mean, not really an expert of it.
No,
I just like to watch them. That.
No,
yeah. So,
I think you should check the subject out. It'll make you think about it, man. I guarantee it. At least that.
I remember. When I was a little kid, I was literally 4 years old. We had a solar eclipse.
Oh yeah.
1989. I was born in 1985.
All right.
I remember that because it was back home in Mexico. We had a solar eclipse, and I was a little kid.
And it blocked out. It turned all red around.
It was in the middle of the day. My mom said, "We're gonna look at it, but don't
look at it too much.
Don't look at it straight because you never knew what was gonna happen." So I'm a little kid. I'm 4 years old, and there's a solar eclipse, and I looked, and all I felt. I smacked me in the face.
Oh, for
she
looking.
Just me for looking at it. I told you not to look at it. I'm like, okay, and that's how I remember, the solar eclipse.
All right, cool.
And the girls were confused because they, in the morning they leave the barn, they go eat, and they come back when it's dark. So it was noon. So it got dark at noon. So they came back to the barn for like 5 minutes. And
what's its light again? What's going on?
They were like crazy, like.
Oh yeah, they're cool solar lunar.
Yeah. Sorry to deviate from your question.
No, dude, no, it's perfect. That's perfect.
So yeah.
All right, and here you know what the North Star is, like Polaris? Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
So this is where I think it's like I said, I think it's more like a realm, like the Matrix without form. Like I don't know if you ever looked at the Bible or whatnot. It says that God made it. I'm not saying that's a scientific proof, but it says without form. Then it's a fact. You can look at the North Star, and it's the only stationary star up there, and everything does perfect geocentric circles around it. So would you be able to disprove that everything's actually spinning around us, causing the Coriolis effect in each part of the world? The moon would push the tides, the sun would contract the tides. They say if you shoot a bullet west when the sun's there, it's going to dip down because of the Coriolis effect. I say that's based off a false axiom, and if you shoot a bullet west at nighttime when the moon's there, the bullet will bounce up a little bit. And then I think the lunar eclipse is actually the sun blocking out the moon. Would you be able to disprove it?
No, and I think that falls back what you said about science earlier. Like it should be what?
Should be a question.
Should be a question, right? It should be, yeah.
And I'm pushing. Yeah. I'm one of the people that are pushing the questioning on it because there's a lot of people. Like I said, this subject's been building up more and more over like time, and they're trying to push it down. But I think
so basically, when we lie to it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't get. I mean, it's my belief. I'm not gonna say it's a knowing, but I think we might have been lied to, man.
Oh yeah, we've been lied to.
Because I'd even say like the existence of satellites, they might be up there or whatever, but they might not be giving us the right information. Because if you look at some of the footage or whatever, some of the stuff looks pretty cheesy, man. I mean,
think so?
Yeah, I mean, most of them will tell you most of the pictures of the Earth are like CGI composites, which is like a compilation, like hundreds of things put together. So it's not like a perfect. They'll say they got a couple pictures of the Earth, but I mean, if you believe them or not, Okay. And then, have you heard what a logical fallacy is?
A what?
Can I give you an example of a logical fallacy?
Go ahead.
If we were at a tennis court right now and I threw a bunch of tennis balls on the ground, would that turn the tennis court into a round ball?
No.
So just because you see circles in the sky, does that mean you're living on a ball? No? That's fair.
I can't really answer that.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. All right, that's perfect. You've been a great interview. I appreciate it very much, man.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna be debating like.
No, I'm not debating. This is just an open topic.
I know what I'm saying. I just don't know. You don't know. Which you don't know. You know.
No, like I said, I believe this for 37 years of my life, and I
Wow.
thought this was the stupidest thing ever. And I'm like, man, whatever. Let me look into this. I'm gonna debunk this thing really, really quick and easily. And then when I went to debunk it, I mean, I watched one 45-minute thing on it, and it put me on my ass. Like, dude, I was questioning everything like a long time ago. Yeah, it put me on because there's things I didn't know about. I didn't know about like there's something called like a Project Fishbowl, which is back like they shot high nuclear warheads like 1952 before even a satellite ever pierced the sky. Same time the Antarctic Treaty was made, which is, like you said, you probably never heard about the Antarctic Treaty, have you? I didn't know about it. The only sovereign nation. Why is there a sovereign nation out there? Some people claim like, oh, there's an ice wall out there. So I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying it. The Antarctic, it's a fact. You can look Antarctic as a sovereign nation. And it's just got a lot of intriguing facts to it. So I think it's worth, question.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
It'll be fun to look at it,
All right,
Why
cool.
not?
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Jose.
No
Really
problem.
appreciate it, man.